morning, everybody. Welcome to today's video. If you guys are new, subscribe. If you enjoy, give it a thumbs up. Today's video is gonna kind of be half driven by Jordan and half talked by Jordan. Talking by Jordan. Whatever. The long story short, I want to answer a question that a lot of people have for me just to clear the air. And then I also am gonna show you the actual driving portion of today's video, which is kind of what you came here obviously to see, which is gonna be my first drive in my girlfriend's brand new Tesla Model Y. First time I've ever driven one. I'll kind of explain to you guys the power comparison between that and a Model 3 performance. But before we get into that, welcome to Driven by Jordan. Now, a question that a lot of people obviously have: when I purchased my BMW M2, I purchased a 2018, which is the N55. Why did I not get an M2 competition? And that's a question I get a lot because I feel like there's so many comparisons on the internet right now of people comparing the first gen M2 to the new M2 competition. There's quite a simple answer for that, but let me explain. I actually had never driven the N55 M2 until I bought it. And I have a habit of doing that. I never drove a manual R8 before I bought my R8. I did drive an NSX once before I bought my NSX, but I had driven two separate occasions in M2 competition. I drove Devin Maletich, if you guys know who that is, Devin and Doran. I drove his M2 comp one day for like 30 miles on normal street driving, and then I drove that same car actually on a drift track and got to actually like slide it around a little bit, not for very long. So I really only had an experience with that car, and I never really had experience with the N55. Now, before I get into this, I'm not one of the people who hate the S55 engine. I know there's a large majority of people that aren't a fan of the F80, F82 platform and the sound the engine makes, and I can understand where they come from. I personally don't think it's horrible. It's not my favorite exhaust note in the world, but I do think it's a good engine. I actually considered buying an F80 M3 before I bought an M2. And with the same S55 put in the M2, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it has some sort of a different exhaust setup because the car does sound a little different and in my opinion a little better. So the M2 comp already did have an advantage over the F80 M3. But I didn't love how that engine drove. I didn't love how it pulled, and I didn't love how it sounded still. In my opinion as well, the price is a big difference. So the reason why when I went to go buy an M2, I ended up looking at the one I hadn't even driven yet opposed to an M2 comp, which again, like I said, like I did really like that car, don't get me wrong. It just wasn't my favorite thing in the world. I was looking at the N55 because A, I knew it'd sound better. In my opinion, the N55 sounds way better. And I didn't think the price was worth going from an M2 to an M2 comp because the M2 comps haven't been around for long enough for them to take too much depreciation. So you're still gonna pay typically above 50K for an M2 comp used, whereas my car was a fully spec'd out Black Shadow edition and I paid well under that. So when I was looking at M2s, I wanted an N55 and I knew when I drove it I would enjoy it, and I knew there wasn't going to be a huge power difference. Now obviously they did bigger brakes, I believe. They tweaked the suspension. So the M2 comp definitely is a better package all around. But like I said, in my opinion, it wasn't worth the jump, and I think the used market right now on the first gen M2s, the N55 is really, really good. You could even find a couple for under 40 grand, which is a really big difference. That's well over $10,000 difference for just different seats for the most part, the S55 versus the N55, which like I said, I like the N55. So that's kind of the reason why I went with the N55, and then I bought it, and then I drove it, and I immediately was confident in my decision. I still like seeing M2 comps, but I don't think the sound does it for me. And I think it's actually cooler, especially having a Black Shadow edition which comes with the 763M wheels, which are the CS wheels. It's just more special, and I feel like I see more M2 comps now actually versus the N55. The one car that definitely is going to intrigue me is going to be the M2 CS. I think that's going to be a really cool car, but again, the price is just not, in my opinion, not going to be worth it. But that's me foreshadowing. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the car is absolutely amazing. It looks cool, but my plans with this car is to kind of turn it into like an old gen N55 M2 CS if they were to have made a CS back then. So that's kind of the hint on the exterior stuff. As you guys saw, I put a CS rear spoiler on, so I guess we're gonna see. Now, I also want to say the reason I didn't get an F80 M3 was honestly nothing other than the fact of I was kind of looking for both of them, and whatever I could find, I was down with. And I'd always wanted an M2 Black Shadow edition, or even just an M2 with the CS wheels spec'd, but I think on the previous gen M2, you could only get those wheels spec'd in the Black Shadow. I could be wrong. I know with the M2 comps, you can option those wheels, which I would have done, obviously, but I always wanted a Black Shadow edition. I had looked at one a while ago. It was actually a manual somewhere in like Newport Beach, and before I could work a deal with my Golf, it sold really fast. So I was like, wow. And that was another reason I wanted to get a Black Shadow edition, was because there's not a lot around. And it's not like there was some crazy special package. All it really is the paint, the mirrors, and the wheels, but I still wanted that just because people really like those cars, especially with the CS wheels. I was kind of looking around, and that was overlapping with me looking at M3s. I love the look of an an F80 M3, but I also like the performance of an M2, that shorter wheelbase, just a smaller, more compact package. So I was looking at both of them and I came across that M2 actually right after I came across an M3. I almost went up to Oregon to buy an M3, an F80 M3, but I ended up not because I had found that better deal in San Francisco on the M2. And then once I'd found that deal, it was a really, really good deal. So I sold, like you guys saw, I sold my car to CarMax ASAP because they actually gave me a good trade-in value. I didn't have time to sell my car and I knew an official Beamer dealer wasn't gonna give me what I wanted for my car. So I worked that trade deal, went out there and made that deal happen. So that's kind of the story of why I ended up with the M2. I get a lot of questions of why didn't I get a comp, this and this and that, but for the most part, guys, that car is absolutely amazing. I would not have traded it for the world. There's not a single part of me that wants to upgrade to an M2 comp. I don't even know if I would consider that an upgrade. Definitely like the M2 CS. I think that would be crazy in the future, but we're definitely gonna have to wait for prices on those to drop because I'm not paying what it seems like those are gonna be going for. I'm not even sure if that's released yet. I haven't even looked into that. I don't know. I just remember people saying it was gonna be around 100 grand and I am paying 100 grand for an M2. Sorry. Unless it's amazing. Unless it's amazing. I'm not gonna say anything now. Could be like the best car ever, but for the most part, I'm not gonna be paying that. So that is that. Now I'm gonna cue the clips that you guys kind of came here to see. My first drive in my girlfriend's Model Y. She did not let me drive it the first day, which I was very upset about because even without her having insurance or a license, I was gonna let her drive my M2 the first day until we realized she didn't have insurance. That was kind of a bad idea. And my NSX, well, she didn't have a permit either back then, so she couldn't really drive that, but I would've. So I'm kind of mad at her. So enjoy these clips. That'll end out the video for you guys. Sorry for a sit down video. I told you this is talking by Jordan today. And now we'll get to the driven by Jordan part. Enjoy. Love you guys.
I don't like it.
What don't you like?
This is my car.
This is day 2 and I finally get to drive your car. Day 2! I offered you to drive my car day 1 until we found out you didn't have insurance. Well, we kind of realized we didn't have insurance, but I was gonna let you drive it hours into me owning my M2.
Fix your steering wheel? I made your account.
Oh, very nice. Can I see what?
You wanna change your mirrors and stuff?
Yes, who are you referring to?
Daddy.
Okay, perfect. Daddy will change his mirrors, yep. All right, well, my initial thoughts here, I could be wrong, but I don't drive Alex's Model 3 all the time, but the steering wheel feels smaller than I remembered. I could be wrong. I love the seating position in this car because you sit up so much higher and the dash is so much lower, so I immediately like it more than the Model 3. Or I could just be an idiot and I'm wrong, but at least that's what it feels like since last time I drove it. Also, Alex drives all his cars like on the floor with the steering wheel up. Every time I drive these, it's just so enjoyable. This is the first time I've driven Jordan's Model Y. The first time I've ever driven a Model Y. So these are my initial reactions.
Hit it.
Well, I will, but let me just get a feel for the thing. Steering feels good. I just love Teslas. If you didn't buy a Tesla, I would have bought a Tesla. Like if you said I don't want a Tesla, I would have gone on my way and bought one.
I was gonna get a Porsche Macan.
They're the best. Everyone in the comments right now is like, well, thank God she didn't get a Porsche Macan. Nothing wrong with Porsche Macans, but you're not gonna get anything like, even if you buy a fully spec'd out GTS. All right, what mode am I in right now?
Chill, leave it in chill, leave it in chill.
So I'm in chill. I can feel that because I can just tell. This is stepping on it.
Like that's
Wow.
stepping on it?
Yeah.
I'll put you in.
I wonder in this car,
You're in sport now.
here's a question, because I can't get out of the car and find this out right now, so hopefully someone in the comments can help me out, or multiple people. When you take your foot off the gas in this car, and you have regenerative on standard, and because it slows you down so much, does it put your brake lights on? Also, you are probably so up in my zone right now, dude. Why are you in my zone, girl? Get out of my face. All right, we'll do a acceleration on chill mode right now.
No, you're on accelerate.
Oh, I am?
Yeah.
Oh, you just switched me.
Yeah.
The
Ready?
best
3?
part is... Oh! The best part is I wish I was getting your reaction because I know how much gnarly it feels when you're a passenger.
Yeah.
Oh my... Jesus! It never gets old.
No, it doesn't.
And I'll tell you what, the Model 3, I've even driven a P100D Model S. I've even been in a P100D Model X. So torquey that they honestly don't all feel that much different, in my opinion. I've heard some people say the Model S is way faster, which it is numbers wise, but to me, it's just like, they all just feel as insane. You almost dropped it. This is so fun. Well, I hope you enjoyed the clips of the Model Y. That is gonna wrap today's video. I will see you guys, today's Wednesday, I will see you guys on Sunday. I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new, and stay driving. That didn't make any sense, bye.